Can you hear me?
And we are live. Welcome back to Afterburn Soccer Show. Sorry about last week for those of our regulars who follow along with us or catch up the show. Just had a confluence of events that sometimes happens in the midst of life. But hey, my son fractured his thumb, but he's fine. He's on the mend. Had to take him to urgent care, so I had to cancel the Wednesday night show after not being able to do the Monday night one either. So that's life. But we're here. We're here to get caught up. And FC Dallas had a bit of a break this weekend too. So we've all had a chance to take our breath, and now it gets serious. Now it gets really serious over the next few weeks. Of course, I'm Nathan, the host here. You can follow me at Nathan J Hill, and with me is our buddy Jose. You can follow him
Hey,
at El Chico Carmona.
what's up, everybody?
Yeah. Oh, looking nice in that shirt there, Jose.
I couldn't find my jersey. I'm like, the hell, I'll just get a
Yeah.
polo. Look sharp.
And I'm wearing my Incheon FC shirt
Nice.
from Korea. That we happened to walk by the team store and they had some good stuff. So I was like, let me at least
That's awesome.
get a shirt. Well, I got some video clips for us to talk about to kind of try and get our conversation moving. We'll start off, and of course, talk about FC Dallas. We can look back to that Vancouver game. If there's anything we think that's going to carry into these next few matches, but otherwise, we're going to think about what's ahead for FC Dallas. 3 more home matches remaining. I think 3 more road games.
Sure.
And so we're going to talk about. In fact, I'll probably try to pull up the schedule here, and might display it because we're in the home stretch. It's now or never for FC Dallas. They're still on the outside looking in, and that's what they've been talking about as they prepare to face travel up to Salt Lake City and face Real Salt Lake on Wednesday night. Let's go ahead and hear from Coach Luxon first about what needs to happen, especially Wednesday night and later this week at home.
Yeah, right now for us, like a top 5 or top 10 is going to be the same thing, right? We have a just thing to do is to win if we want to compete and to be fighting to get to the playoff, what the club deserve at least. So we know that it's going to be tough, but one thing for sure that we're going to fight until the end. We have a belief, we trust, and we can do it. If not, we'll not do that. It will not play that sport, that beautiful sport. We know that we can do it, but now we need to stop thinking about what the other is going to do and just thinking about us, because we cannot expect to make the playoffs just thinking about the other losing. We need to win games, and we need to get points, and even like a tie or is maybe not enough, but at the same time we need to be smart. We need to be patient. We need to be calm, and now that we can see that Sebastian, we have like a full roster coming back, so that thing is helping, and even in the competition and the practice, so is better for us right now.
So some things are better with a full roster in practice, guys who are healthy, helping that competition. But it's pretty clear that it's now or never. Now is the time to win. With this weekend off, Jose, just what is your sense of optimism with 2 games this week that will say a lot about whether or not FC Dallas can creep into playoff contention?
Frankly, I'm a very optimistic person, but it looks pretty grim. If we're being honest. Uh, it that loss to Colorado really, really hurt this team badly. They could not afford a home loss, and to make up for it, they needed to pick up 3 points at Vancouver. So that draw is just not good enough. And now, where before you needed maybe 4 wins, uh, 4 home wins, and maybe a draw or 2 to get in, they still need 4 wins, and even then, that might not be enough. They, I mean, they would need to win all 3 home games, and then they're going to need 3 points on the road. And even then, they may still need help just to get into the ninth spot. and the bottom line is the two teams they're chasing that are ahead of them are in really good form right now. We're talking about Minnesota, Houston. They're both in excellent form right now. Those are the teams that Dallas is chasing. And frankly, it's Dallas has to go for broke and throw caution to the wind. They can't play like they played at Vancouver in any of the coming games.
Mm-hmm.
It's better for them to go at it like they did against Colorado, even if they lose. The fans will be happy that they at least went for it. If they're playing for a draw, that's not good enough. This team needs 12 points and help. And I don't mean like help as in games going their way in the last week of the season. I mean they need games going their way the rest of the season. They're gonna need to not only make a run. I would say 12 points and help gets them in. 12 points and no help, and we're lamenting, that Dallas doesn't make it by like 2 points, which would be that Colorado loss.
Yeah.
So, frankly, 3 home.
Yeah. But yeah, or that Minnesota draw, right? That should have been a win.
Yes. Well, yes. Because they had several drop points, and some people would say that they should have gotten 3 points against Vancouver. Although, let's face it, Vancouver it's a nightmare for Dallas. Always has been, and a point against them is about as good as you're going to get. It's more than you should expect from the team that we're fielding, in all honesty. So it's pretty dire right now. Honestly, the next loss, this team suffers, especially if it is a home loss. It's over. The season's over.
Mm.
A loss on the road isn't season over, but you're going to need 3 points on the road and the 3 home wins just to have a shot to get in at the 9th spot. With help, mind you.
Yeah. Well, they're going to play RSL. RSL has been a great team this year. They're maybe not at the level they were at other points of the season right now. So, but it's always a tough place to play. It's not going to be an easy victory. And then to turn around and welcome LAFC, who probably aren't going to be in the number 1 contention at this point after that loss against the Galaxy, but are one of the best teams in the league, are so dangerous. It's going to be a tough test for FC Dallas. The only highlight is, Orlando's been playing well. I think they've won 3 to 5 straight, I think, right now. And then San Jose, you would think that could be an easy victory away. Vancouver beat San Jose this past weekend, but that's also the game where maybe San Jose, grinds it out and makes life difficult. So it's not an easy schedule. There are a couple of opportunities if they can finish out strong at home. There are some opportunities for points on the road with this.
They need of the road games. The San Jose game is their best shot to get a win, but they can't drop any home points at all. And I would hope that they try to get a draw against RSL this coming game. But I guarantee you that if it's a loss, the fan base will be as pessimistic as it's ever been, and I guarantee you a loss at RSL will have almost everybody say the season's over.
Yeah.
So they need at least a point against RSL. I don't think it's fatal if they don't get it, but they would then have to win the next 2 home games and win at San Jose just to give themselves a shot at the last, to sneak in at the last, against Sporting Kansas City. Portland's another team that it's going to be like Vancouver. They go there. They hate playing on turf. Their best case scenario is they get a draw out of there. So let me tell you something, though. I'm not very optimistic about the road game against RSL. Like I said, I think, yes, I know RSL lost and whatnot, but at home they're a different beast.
Mm.
and
Yeah.
and tired legs gives FC Dallas a chance to pull something out, but they can't play like they played against Vancouver. Like they played against Vancouver. It's a loss, plain and simple. But I actually like our chances against LAFC. LAFC is a team that is not gonna bunker. It's not going to play a low block or mid block. They're a team that's going to press high and combat FC Dallas. And FC Dallas thrives against those teams. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll win, but it could be a game similar to the Colorado game where there's goals to be had for both sides, and the team that gets the last goal gets the win. That's the kind of game I expect against LAFC. So I think we have a shot against LSU simply because they're in a bad run of form, and they play a style that FC Dallas thrives against. But again, they can play RSL, they play LAFC on a short week. You know, will that compensate for will tired legs kick in? We don't know. At the end of the day, this team isn't healthy yet. It's healthier, but you can't count on any of the guys coming back from injuries going a full 90 minutes. You may not even count on them to go 60 minutes. I mean, Jesus was dying out there when they pulled him. I mean, he was dragging, and you can't blame him. I mean, he's not in game shape. Neither is Velasco. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But like I said, they need to find a way to eke out a point against RSL, and frankly, they would then have to win their next 3 games just to give us hope.
Yeah. So it's razor thin margin. So we'll find out, a lot about this team. Now, I think, having watched soccer enough, the Cinderella story of of a team getting hot, like FC Dallas, sounds great, but it's just really hard. It's really hard to do, and I think we would have seen signs of this team maybe flashing that at other points. I would not say I'm super optimistic right now. They have a chance. As long as they have a chance, they should. They're going to keep grinding, and I think if we see Velasco and Ferreira get a little hot, it really does increase their chances of making some of these away matches and home matches really exciting to watch. So we'll learn something about the team. But I think it's going to be tough. I mean, if we can get a draw against RSL Wednesday night, even though that's maybe not the best thing, it's positive. It builds momentum for the team, especially when away matches have been such a challenge for them this season.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you a little on Velasco and Jesus. And at this point in the season, you have to think about those guys as nothing more than super subs. That's what they are at best. And frankly, if this team is to make a legit run to the playoffs, it's going to be the guys that we've relied on all season are going to have to step up, and that's Ilara is going to have to ball out. We're talking about Paul, and we're talking about Musa. The guys that have been there, those guys are going to have to step up and play like we know they can. And Leggett too. Those are the guys that they're going to have to carry us. Farrington should be starting up there with Musa and Jesus. He's another guy. I know he's a rookie, but let's face it, he's been one of our best players.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that are going to have to step up and carry this team into the playoffs. And at the same time, Tafari and Ibeaga are going to have to get their crap together and not necessarily get shutouts, but play competent defense and stop allowing cheap goals. Goals that we look at and like that last goal against Colorado, that was just a shoot show right there. It was just, we can't have plays like that from this defense. It's not the best defense, but it has shown it can play solid defense, and that's all we really need. So we need a lot of things to go right, and it's maybe too many things that need to go right.
Right. No, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, still Velasco, if he can provide a moment, let's say it's 1-0 RSL, and it's in the 80th minute, but Velasco can come in and he can hit a free kick that creates that opportunity, that gathers a point. That he can be that kind of presence even as a super sub. Because you're right, it's well, who knows what the coach is going to do. I mean, if he's ready and you feel like he can run out there for 90 minutes, but it would be unlikely, I think, for him to start. Maybe,
No,
maybe he
no.
does one of these games because it's a congested schedule, but yeah, I just don't know what the benefit is, especially if you're struggling, and you don't want to risk getting him re-aggravated, or and Jesus for that matter. So, but I'm still looking for those guys to provide leadership and a spark if they can. So some of these games are going to be tight. So this team will need all of the help and the firepower they can muster.
Yeah, I think it's more realistic to have uh, someone like Jesus, who probably will start. We need him to do damage while he's on the field in the first half before uh, before his legs give out, which they will. I mean, he's not in game shape. It's going to be a bit before he gets there. But if he can do damage in the first half and give us an early, the team needs an early goal. They need to basically get a goal and then play for to maintain the lead. That's their best chance to come out ahead against RSL. RSL. If RSL scores first, it forces Dallas to come at them.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to play to their game, in their home stadium. So really, we need if the damage, and I'm not saying the guy like Velasco can't come in. I'm just saying coming off that injury, we can't really rely on him doing that. We're more likely to get good play from someone like Kamungo who can come in and create chaos and showed flashes of it this last game that we haven't really, frankly, not seen most of the season.
Yeah.
So it's it's going to be tricky, but I would hope that someone like Jesus that's come back. I think Jesus looked dangerous in Sparks, and if he can give us a little bit more of that and give RSL, fits in the first half, that's what this team needs. They need someone like that. They need Jesus to basically do damage before he tires out.
Good stuff. Well, let's shift course. We can touch back on an FC Dallas question at the end before we sign off. But let's go and shift over to one of the hottest teams in MLS Next Pro, North Texas. They just finished up a 6-point away trip. Two massive results. One of them come from behind. You know, they're just such a fun team to watch right now. And you see
Yeah.
their youth on the field. You see the mistakes. They didn't start against Ventura County. They looked a mess. It just was a struggle going down 2 goals, but then this just exploded for the victory in the second half with just a few tweaks. I asked a head coach, interim head coach Michelle, just about the the problem each week for that team when there's so many quality players on the bench who are just chomping at the bit to come in and do something. And so it's a nightmare for opposing teams who may not have that depth, but it's a problem for Michelle. Which 11 do we start that to get the most out of these guys? And so
A good
here's
problem to have.
it's a
Yes.
good problem. That's what he says. Let's listen to him.
It's a good headache. Me and my staff, we every day thinking about who's gonna put in, who's gonna start today. It's always a challenge for us. But it's a good headache. We wanted that problem for us. When we have a lot of players that have the ability and the quality to start in the game. So the main thing for us is manage the ones who's not playing, and then yeah, after that is just let them enjoy the game, having fun, and getting the point for us.
So it is a good problem to have, and I think Michel's leadership certainly warrants him earning the permanent position come at the end of the season. But they still have plenty to play for. They have secured a playoff spot, but could lock down the number one spot in the West. So there's still a lot on the line for North Texas. They want to close out the year strong, and they're also, I believe, playing Wednesday night as well. Let me pull up their page. They've got a double game week, I believe. Oh no, I'm incorrect. I'm getting their schedule mixed up with FC Dallas. So no, 3 more matches left in the regular season. They welcome Austin, which will be an important match this Sunday. Then we'll travel to Sporting Kansas City for on the 29th, and then their final game of the regular season will be at home against Minnesota United FC 2. So 3 matches, 9 points.
It's a very favorable schedule for them. The 2 home games and 1 road game. That's great. And here's the big problem with North Texas. Is yes, they have a lot of talent and they can rotate and they play a lot of kids and stuff, which is wonderful. This is what we want. But playoff soccer is a whole different animal, and Michel should be focusing on who his strongest 11 are. Who are his 11 guys that are going to play this team through the playoffs? That's what he needs to be working on. He needs to decide who those 11 are, and start featuring the same starting 11 in these last 3 games. I mean, I love to see them give the kids, academy kids, and the new hybrid signings and whatnot. I love seeing them get minutes, but it's time to get serious, and it's time to find out who your best 11 are and play them. That's how you're going to win. Otherwise, if they don't do that and they continue to mix and match, they're going to be eliminated in playoffs. It's that simple. They're going to be playing other teams that are not as good, but play more mature players, than North Texas does, and so they can compensate for the lack of talent or the talent mismatch. North Texas may be more talented, but that talent is spread throughout the roster, and it's very young. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I like our chances. I think North Texas has a great chance to make a run at the title. But like I said, he needs to narrow his roster and get serious and not take any chances.
Well, and I think we're seeing that. I think we're seeing you definitely have a guy like Salih who is a pretty mainstay, and Nico Gordon, and especially even though we saw we've seen some rotation as a keeper, but Collodi really has locked down that, and he makes a lot of really good decisions as a keeper, even though he's not the tallest keeper that Dallas has in their pipeline. So who knows where he projects, but the big thing too is Nolan Norris back with the team, and he scored his first goal of the season for North Texas in that comeback. It really sparked it. He has been just such a presence, and it looks like he's just growing. So in fact, let's jump over to a clip. I was able to ask him after that game about his growth, because this year he's played senior minutes with FC Dallas, he's played with North Texas, and he's played some international minutes, some crucial international minutes as well. So it's been a really solid year for him, and this is what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of different opportunities this year, and it's just about taking it game by game. I feel like I progressed big time in a lot of different ways. Like you said, playing different positions. It just brings out a little bit different things in my game, so it helps me improve in everything. I think confidence is probably the biggest thing. I just have to be from all my teammates, all my coaches to go out and play, and yeah, it's just all my work in the off season is paying off in terms of passing, extra work in the gym, being physical. So I mean, listen, I just like to play football and happy I'm doing my job and helping any team I play with.
It's been a good year for the kid, and that goal was euphoric for him against Ventura County. And I just think he's one that with his progression, I mean, next year he has got, to spend more time with the senior team and maybe work his way into a big role, especially with some openings that will be created with departures that we're anticipating. Um, I mean, this is what North Texas is for. So in the midst of it, that they're playing exciting soccer, we're also getting to see these guys grow and flash what they're capable of. But I appreciate your comment so much, Jose, because Major League Soccer is the same. You can over the course of a season, you can work yourself into playoff positioning. You get on a run, that's great. But then when it comes down time to it, you need that 1-0 win in Seattle, or that penalty kick shootout. Do you have the players who are going to be ready for that and up for that, right?
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
and I want to say one last thing. Colodi, I mean, he could be our future Jimmy Ryan. He could be that. I mean, similar, build, similar height, and a player who has great positioning, good command of the back. I mean, he's got the excellent person to emulate right there. You know, and why not? I mean, he's come in and been a massive upgrade. I mean, if Ferreira is technically the number one for North Texas and Colodi's number two, that's a great number two.
yeah,
Massive upgrade from last year. And honestly, you could argue he's the number one and not Ferreira with the way he's been playing. And that's a wonderful issue to have if you're in North Texas. The fact that who do you start?
that's
You
right.
know,
But I love that you mentioned Mark because um, of the little snippets that we can look back over the season, whatever happens, like seeing Mark come in against Vancouver and really play lights out. Remind us why he was a sneaky good pickup all those years ago when he came from the Cosmos and we really didn't know much about him. But just a clutch performance at Vancouver. He got all, and it wasn't like he looked like smooth as silk either. Some of the beginning parts he was scrambling. You could tell he was catching up to the game, but then some crucial saves that we didn't even know Parton Paz would have gotten those right. So just a huge performance. Kudos to him. And yeah, we could certainly use another guy like that coming in the pipeline who could be that sort of that wonderful bench piece, leadership piece, and a clutch kind of gamer, right?
yeah. I mean, and he's the ultimate professional. He makes up for his weaknesses with his positioning and game smarts. He's the guy who is going to position himself well to be able to make those stops. He's not going to be able to rely on acrobatics or legs or anything like that. So he has to be on point. And for a guy who hasn't really played all season, he just demonstrated why he's such a great backup for this team or any team. And that's what you want from a backup is you don't want to worry, can he handle it? You know, Jimmy can handle it. And honestly, if we didn't have Martin Paz and we had somebody else, you'd be like, hey, make him the starter because he played that well. But you know, um, I think the big question with Jimmy is, I know some people are saying that maybe this could have been his last game in a CB jersey, and this would be a great way for him to go out. But the truth is that whether this is his last year with FC Dallas depends on Carrera's progression. FC Dallas has to believe that Carrera is ready to step in and be the number two next year.
Hmm.
And if they're not, then you need to bring Jimmy back for another year if you can.
Yeah,
And that's the honest truth. Is if Jimmy is done at the end of the year because you believe Carrera is ready to be number two, but if you're not convinced he's ready for that step, then you might as well tell Jimmy to come back and maybe be a player coach or something.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have to see. We'll see as they make those decisions, and certainly as Jimmy makes his own kind of choices about his future. Well, I did want us to close with something kind of that had us in our feels, which was that Reggie Cannon is now back in MLS, signed with Colorado Rapids after being released by Luton, and yeah, disappointing moment because we need defenders. We need a guy. Reggie has spent more time now. Spent some time playing as in a back five as a center back. Gosh, could have been an interesting player to throw into the mix to build around. Would have been great to have him back home, and yet, from at least the rumors I've heard, there wasn't ever any conversation with FC Dallas. It doesn't mean it could be that the rumors I heard were, didn't know what's going on. Maybe Reggie wasn't interested in coming back to Dallas, and maybe what Dallas could have offered him wasn't what Colorado could have, or another team or two. So, but just a disappointing thing. It's going to be weird to see him, but a good pickup for Colorado. It's such a
A
weird
great,
fit.
a great, a great pickup for them. I mean, especially this late in the season to add that kind of a player. Uh, it's a great addition. Honestly, the problem with Reggie is the timing. We just got Ron, and so now you got him. You got Giovanni coming back. You got Tuamasi. You're gonna add Cannon to that list. I mean, you'd have to basically tell him, hey, we want you to be our third center back. That's really what they would have to have offered him, and maybe the team isn't convinced that they want him to be the third center back.
Yeah.
And they're not convinced that they're going to play three at the back next season because that's basically what you'd be doing. You'd be committing to a three at the back with Reggie, and at the same time, you got a guy who's coming, former USMNT player, commands a little more, and do you really want to pay that much to someone who probably wants to play right back?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't. You don't. You've already got too much money committed at that position, and it's just the timing. Maybe if it had happened earlier before the Ruan deal, maybe Dallas makes an effort. But really, right now, the answer is no. It's just not. They have too many players at that position, and I don't think Reggie is the guy you wanted to bring in to be a center back for you, even though he can play there and has played there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's one of those what ifs, and we just don't know. When Reggie
Love,
left,
love
there
the
was
guy.
there was some drama. It was during Black Lives Matter stuff, and
Yep,
Reggie had
yep.
made some statements, rightfully so, about some reactions in the crowd, some fans yelling things. And I remember Dan Hunt maybe didn't handle it the best. So we don't know if whether.
Yes, but and here's the thing. That's just bad timing. The truth is Reggie's contract was. You got to remember that they made it so that they were forced to have to sell him. They did that for several players. Reggie's one of those players that re-signed, but re-signed his contract in a way where it had a cumulative. We're talking about had they kept him, he was probably going to have to be a DP the following year.
Mm,
So that was very not realistic. So Reggie's contract ensured that he had to go. That's how he wanted it. Everybody wanted him to go to Europe, uh, but I guess Portugal is in Europe. Uh, so, I'm just saying, everyone's like Europe. No, not that Europe. Because
yeah.
nowadays, when people say Europe, they mean the top five leagues. If you don't play in the top five leagues, you're not playing Europe. You must be playing somewhere else. And that's what it was. And it was just bad timing. It's bad timing that all happened at the time when a deal like that was probably in the works for a while. You know, and maybe just maybe Reggie already knew that was getting finalized to begin with, and therefore had no problem with being more expressive than we had seen from him.
Mm,
So it's a lot of things. It's just bad timing. Like I said, look at the contract. He had his contract set up in a to make sure that he would have to be moved, and that's exactly what happened, just as it was planned.
Well, yeah, just one of those things that had FC Dallas fans in their fields, and also tomorrow, big news for Frisco for Toyota Stadium is expansion plans are being presented to the
The
Frisco,
vote.
yeah, for a vote, and so we could see a lot more exciting changes to the stadium over several years, but they could be some great pieces that add to the atmosphere and to the experience there. So some exciting things happening in the bigger picture.
Expansion's overdue. I mean, let's face it. You look at the attendance has been great for FC Dallas. It doesn't look great because the stadium isn't really one of the bigger stadiums in MLS anymore. It's one of those smaller stadiums. So the expansion needs to happen. It needs to put FC Dallas on equal footing with the average teams in the league, which it currently isn't. You know, your sellout is what less than 20,000. That's You need a bigger stadium than that. You need bigger capacity, and they have been selling out enough that and they have the talent. You know, with the right moves. This is MLS. You can make the playoffs, miss the playoffs 1 year, and challenge for the title the next. So, you know, with the right moves and the right luck, as in less injuries, um, let's not forget what this healthy team has done in the past when it's been healthy. It's played really well. In this league, being healthy can get you very far. And I'm just saying, I love to see it. I love to see that the stadium is hopefully not just adding like 1,000 seats or something like that. I hope it's a significant expansion.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it there. Jose, thank you for your time tonight. Thanks to everybody who's gonna be listening in later on in your busy schedule. We'll of course be trying to do some tweeting and some following later this week about some other stories that we've been covering and have been working on. So look ahead to a busy week of FC Dallas action. It's now or never, and of course
Yep,
North Texas this weekend. All
that's
right.
right.
Good
Living
night,
on the pitch,
everybody.
guys. Good night.